And by the third time, I was like, I just looked at her dead in the eye. I was like, lady, I have been waiting my entire life for this moment. Trust me, I'm going to dance.
Hello, Stefan.
Hello.
So, if you had to describe your night with Madonna in one word, how would you describe it?
Unforgettable.
So, to somebody who has never heard of Madonna, I pity them, of course, right? But how would you describe Madonna to this person?
Madonna she's a legend in the entertainment industry. Madonna got her start in the 80s, secured her legacy in the 90s, and continues to produce music even now, thankfully.
And how were you first introduced to Madonna?
My story with Madonna began, it was 5th grade, and one of the girls was having a birthday party, and her parents decided that they would chaperone the party and we would have to watch a video. And that video just happened to be Madonna's Virgin Tour. And that was my first exposure to Madonna ever. And it just sort of kept continuing on from there.
So you mentioned Philadelphia, and that's where this night with Madonna took place, right?
Yes, because I'm originally from Philadelphia and one of my best friends, Jennifer, still lives there. Over the years, we'll still go to see Madonna together. But to set the stage a little bit, Madonna was going to be in Philadelphia on Thursday, September 24th in 2015. And every fan knew that she was bringing somebody up on stage. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, in 2012, I used Twitter to tag her manager and let him see, because Jennifer and I, we wore these, I custom made these sashes that said the tour MDNA. And I mean, I was like hand stitching these sashes. It was ridiculous. I was like, well, if Twitter worked for us to get like the fan tickets, and I was like in her crotch for the entire show, let me try and do something, you know, to maybe draw their attention to me. You know, I was like, well, if they're looking for fans, maybe they'll be looking on social media. So like when I got to Philadelphia, I went to the Rocky statue by the art museum. And so like I took my shirt off and stood just like that. And my caption was, "Yo Madonna," like instead of like "Yo Adrian" type of thing. I thought I was being so clever. So we get into the venue and there's this guy who is dressed exactly like the Pope. So I was like, Jennifer, we have to get a picture with him. It'll be hysterical. And then I posted that on Instagram right away, being like, oh, we found the Pope. He's at Madonna's concert, and tagged her and her manager. And then when we got into the venue and we got to our 4th row seats, you know, I mean, the stage is right there and it's huge and amazing. So I posted a picture from our exact seat location, because I was like, okay, this will be the last post before the show. And so I put 4th row bitches and posted the picture, tagged her and her manager. So I told them where I was, and you know, I'm like, at least they know I'm in the 4th row if they're looking for me.
Yeah, it's like a trail of breadcrumbs you left.
Correct,
yeah,
exactly.
That's brilliant.
So I thought that they picked the fan to go up on stage before the show began. So I'm trying to be ostentatious and I'm waving my red fan around and I'm, you know, like making sure that I look like I'm having a good time and I'm dancing to the pre-show music and this, that. And then the lights go down and the show starts and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I didn't get picked. And I just proceeded to enjoy the show, and Jennifer and I are singing and dancing and having a great time and didn't think anything of it. So she's performing, I think it was Material Girl at that point. And that's when I feel a tap on my shoulder. So I turn and there's this woman dressed all in black with like a headset and, you know, Live Nation on her t-shirt, and very, very serious. And she's like, would you come with me for a moment? And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden it just sort of like washed over me, where I was like, oh my God, they're asking me to go on stage. So I left the row and I go out with the woman and she's like, so we were just wondering if you might want to go on. And I didn't even let her finish the sentence, like, yes, yes, yes. Because I knew that's what she was asking me. And So she goes, okay, but you have to promise us that you're gonna dance. And I was like, absolutely. I'm like, I will dance. And she's like, okay. She was asking me again, you have to make sure that you're gonna dance because Madonna is only happy if people are dancing and having a good time. I'm like, I promise, I'll dance, absolutely. No, seriously, you have to promise us that you're gonna go up there and you're gonna dance. And by the third time, I was like, I just looked at her dead in the eye. I was like, lady, I have been waiting my entire life for this moment. Trust me, I'm going to dance. And so she's like, okay, great. And then I just became a part of the show.
I need a new dish in my life. That's right. Volunteer? Yes?
The weird thing that happened, and I guess was the fortunate side of doing theater, because everyone has always like, weren't you nervous? And I was, but I sort of just went into show mode. And so I was like, it's her show, let her lead, don't try and take it over, you know? So I just sort of like started dancing with her, and I knew the routine because I'd seen it the week before, so I knew that she's gonna bend me over and spank me. And then like use her foot to kick me, and then she's gonna hump me, and as she's doing that, I'm, you know, you're bent over. I'm literally just hanging down, looking at the floor, knowing that my ass is up in the air and everyone's staring at me right now. But I was like, this is so fucking cool that Madonna is humping me right now on stage. And, you know, then she's holding my hand and she's singing to me, and I can hear her voice coming out of her mouth, and I'm singing along with her, and like it was just really like euphoric and like so up and like high and like just like really awake. And you know, the only thing that sort of like was like out of my comfort zone was when we get to the main stage and I now have my solo where I have to just like dance on my own and in front of all these people and Madonna, and all I kept hearing was the woman saying, just make sure you have to dance. And I just was like, just make it big and presentational and as like crazy as possible. Like, who cares if it's eloquent dancing, just make it like visibly big. So I did. So I just sort of like went with it, and then the music ends and I knew like to pose at the very end of the song, and that's when, if you watch the video, you can sort of see I fan out a little bit. Like now, because the performance aspect of it was over, I now had to actually relate to her, and that's when I started to like get super nervous.
A big round of applause for, what is your name, sir?
Stefan.
Stefan. A big round of applause for Stefan. Wow, you're brave. Oh, so brave.
And so I didn't want to do anything tacky and inappropriate. She gave every fan a banana, like her joke. Like that was the gift that everyone got.
You're a boy toy, and you deserve a prize. And here it is, a banana.
And I was like, don't do anything sexual with the banana. You know, like I just didn't want to do that. But I remember as she's talking to me, you know, she had her arm around me for a second, and then I was like putting my arm around her. And as I'm holding on to her, I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to be touching her right now. And I'm like, no, Stefan, touch her. This is Madonna. You know, so like you can see me put my arm back around her, and then in my head I'm like, no, you're gonna get in trouble. And so I like take it away again. So like it keeps going back and forth. And, you know, like she had asked me, you know, like, were you nervous doing that? And for that one moment I was like, just fuck with her. Just, you know, like she wants me to say, yes, of course I was nervous and that. And I just looked her dead in the eye. I was like, no.
Were you nervous doing that?
No.
Not at all.
Fucking nervous as hell.
You were shitting yourself.
I know.
And it got a laugh by the audience and this, that, and yeah, and then it just, you know, she wraps it up and everyone applauds, and the dancer led me out, and I just remember like the road just parted, and there's Jennifer, and she was like, oh my God. And we just like started hugging, and we're jumping up and down, and then Madonna starts the last song, and it's Holiday, one of her classics, and like it's just party and this, that. I'm like, I'm high, you know, like I'm completely sober and just so high from adrenaline, and we're like singing and dancing, this and blah, blah, blah. Madonna leaves, the house lights go up, and now I'm the most famous person in the venue because I had just been up on stage with her, and what would have taken like 10 minutes to get out of the venue took me like 40 minutes to get out of the venue. Like I could not walk a foot without somebody else, like high five, fist bumps, hugs. People wanted to take selfies with me. They wanted to take selfies with the banana. They wanted to wear my hat with me in the picture. And the one question, still to this day, that everyone asks, what do you think that question is, Sean?
How tall is she?
How does she smell? Don't know why that's always the question, but funnily enough, smell or scent was the one sense that was turned off during that entire activity. I remember hearing the crowd and her and this, but I couldn't tell you what she smelled like. And then like the entire Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was just a celebrity. Like every single time I'd log on to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, I had like hundreds of notifications of people being like, oh my God, this is amazing, this, that. And I felt bad for my family because I had gone to visit them and I was on my phone. I'm like, sorry, Mom. I'm like, I gotta ride the wave while I have the chance.
But how does your life change after that night with Madonna?
There was this weird moment of, not depression, but I did sort of like take a hard look at my life and think, so if that can happen, what else can I do? Because if I can dance on stage with Madonna, anything can happen. Anything is possible. And it was an empowering moment. I just was like, okay, time to dream bigger now. You know, now that dream is over. Let's see what else we can make happen in life. And yeah, I kind of just try to live by that now.
If so, for some reason Madonna watches this video, and
yes,
what would you say to her? And what would you say to Madonna?
I have a Madonna podcast, MLVC Madonna podcast, streaming on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. So if Madonna was watching this video, I would say, check out our podcast.
Madam X is going on tour. A theater tour.
Had an amazing Madonna moment tonight. Beer bitches. Oh yeah, I'm not kidding. We actually talked to Madonna. Legit. What? It'll be on Instagram soon. Don't worry. Just thought you'd appreciate a little update at the Madam X show in Philadelphia. I had the honor and privilege of speaking with none other than Madonna herself. That's right. Got to sit down and have a little chat. Also got some merch to remember the night by, and yes, I did tell her about the podcast. What's next, you may ask? Well, of course, I'm gonna try and have her on the show now. Stay tuned.